Everybody talks about Discover identity theft protection, and the question is it really worth it? I mean, should you actually buy it, or this is just a waste of time, money, and resources? So, into this conversation, I really want to go deep when it comes to Discover identity theft protection. Okay, so here's a prologue I want you to really pay attention to. The thing is that when you think about Discover Identity Theft Protection, this is actually an identity theft protection service from Discover, the same company that actually issues credit cards. Okay, and so how does Discover protect your identity? Well, the thing is that with online scams, fraud, and identity theft becoming more common, it really it's kind of cool to understand that basically you want to proactively protect your identity, right? So Discover has built a strong reputation already as a credit card company, but many customers may not realize that the company also offers an identity theft protection service. I mean, if you are among the millions of Americans who don't know that, you are not alone, okay? And Discover Identity Theft Protection is really an easy option for current cardholders. But the question is it the best way for you when it comes to protecting your identity and finances, but also your family's identity and finances, okay? And so when you think about Discover Identity Protection, I want you to think about a paid service for Discover customers that actually provides basic identity monitoring and fraud remediation services. Don't expect something very deep. Don't expect something very broad like what you will get with Aura or with another player. Okay, so basically, the Discover Identity Theft Protection is actually offered in addition to the fraud detection features available to all Discover card members, including Experian credit file monitoring, regular dark web scans. So that's kind of cool too. You'll love that. And they also have FICO score tracking and account fraud alerts. So let me give you a few standout features that come with Discover Identity Theft Protection, at least this year. Okay. So you have a 3-bureau monitoring. So that's kind of cool because 3-bureau credit monitoring, basically you have an alert if there are key changes, significant changes to your Equifax, TransUnion, or Experian credit files. So that's kind of cool. You also have bank account alerts. You have limited social security number and identity alerts. You have dark web monitoring. You have up to $1 million in insurance theft, in identity theft insurance. That's kind of cool. And you have child protection for up to 10 children under your roof. That's kind of cool. I mean, that's kind of cool, but let me talk to you about the suitability of Discover Identity Theft Protection. So who is Discover Identity Theft Protection best suited for? Now, when you think about it, first of all, you got to be a Discover card member, right? So, but Discover Identity Theft is not really offering you that level of depth and breadth that you can expect from identity theft protection services in general. So Discover is really a decent identity protection option for some people, but it has definitely serious limitations that could leave you vulnerable to modern threats. Because see, the thing is that especially during COVID, it was kind of crazy where during COVID, the scammers were really, I guess everybody was home, right? And so were the scammers, and that really gave them time to really revamp their strategy and their strategies and come up with new ways to actually scam people. It's sad, but hey, listen, this is the reality. So, for example, the reason why I'm saying Discover is really a decent identity protection service is because, for example, you have the lack of digital security tools and comprehensive identity monitoring means that you are likely you will only find out if your identity has been stolen well after scammers have used it to defraud you. Okay, so this is like this lack of proactiveness is something that I personally don't like because when identity theft happens, this could create a lot of problems, not only for individuals but for families. I mean, when you have your identity, when you have one identity stolen, okay, but when you have multiple identities stolen, like an entire family has their identity stolen, that could be really problematic. Okay, so what you want to do is when you think about identity theft, you want to really think about proactiveness. You want to be proactive. Don't be reactive. So if you are proactive, what happens here is that you are able to prepare things before they happen and not really act after they have happened. And this is where Discover really is a little like this is what Discover lacks in our humble opinion. Okay. I want to go a little deeper here. I mean, because I spoke about suitability, but I want to really explain to you further so you have a clear idea what you should do this year, especially when it comes to discover identity theft protection. So I want to talk to you about the pros and cons. So kind of give you a well-balanced view, a well-balanced analysis, so you can see whether or not you should actually go for discover identity theft protection this year. By the way, I just want to insist once again that you got to have a Discover credit card before you can actually use this identity theft protection features. Okay, so let's talk about the pluses, and then I'll speak to you about the minuses. So the pluses, here you have a service that includes 3 bureau credit monitoring and regular credit score updates using FICO score. So if there like if your FICO score goes from a 550 say to a 600 or 675 or 625, Discover Identity Theft Protection will actually notify you. So they'll tell you, hey, listen, you have an uptick, or I mean, by the way, downtick. Also, if there's a decline in your FICO score, and again, this is across all 3 credit bureaus. Okay, we are speaking about Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. That's kind of cool. You also have another plus that I like, that you will love also, is the fact that you have up to 10 children who are covered on each plan, and this includes limited monitoring. So up to 10 children, that's really good. If you have a big family, you are really well saved, and you can really save a lot of cash. You don't have to pay extra. And Discover Identity Theft Protection also offers a US-based fraud remediation specialist available during limited hours. They're usually available during 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern on regular working days. And you also have up to $1 million in identity theft insurance coverage. So that's kind of cool. So that's for the pluses. What about the minuses? Let's have let's look at the flip side of Discover Identity Theft Protection. Well, you have limited identity monitoring. So this tracks only your social security number, or if your personal information has been used to verify an account with Experian, not with Equifax or TransUnion. Only one adult is covered on each plan. You have up to 10 children, but only one adult. And you also have, there's no digital security tools that are included. So you don't have no VPN, you have no antivirus, you have no safe browsing and more. And this option is only available to Discover customers. So one thing you need to really understand is that I'm not really here to bash Discover Identity Theft Protection, because basically Discover Identity Theft Protection is kind of cool. It doesn't offer the breadth and depth of a service, that's for sure, but it's really good, especially if you are a current Discover customer. Okay, while it doesn't provide a comprehensive protection against fraudsters and scammers, that's for sure, it does a lot of other stuff. So you want to really think about Discover Identity Theft Protection if you are a Discover card member. So this is important. If you're already one and you trust the company, because you got to trust Discover too, because you can't just be, you can't just say, I'm a customer, so I'm going to entrust them with my security or whatever. No. If you trust the company, it could be a good idea to sign up. If you already have a digital security provider, this is also a great journey to really go on. If you already have access to antivirus software, a virtual private network, a VPN, a password manager, and other digital security tools, Discover Identity Theft Protection might be a decent option to fill in the gaps, because you already are covered on the other front, right? And this is actually the best itinerary, if you will. If you have a large family, I think I've said this before, but that's true. I mean, think about it. If you have a coverage for up to 10 children, that's really good, because other players in this identity theft industry, they're charging you by kid. Man, if you happen to have a maximum 10 children, if you're paying for each of those children, that's really crazy expensive with all the other players. But Discover they ain't charging you extra. So with up to 10 children covered under each plan, Discover's identity protection is really ideal for families with multiple children who need an inexpensive option. Okay, but one thing for sure though, just keep in mind that you will still pay more than other services to cover actually multiple adults. Okay, this is where Discover really lacks. This is where Discover lacks big time. So the bottom line here is though is that when you think about Discover Identity Theft Protection, here you have a service that asks a premium price for limited features and protection, right? So unless you fall into one of the categories I spoke about a little earlier, you're probably better off going with another provider. In other words, Discover is not really the right tool for you. I mean, not Discover. Discover Identity Theft Protection is not the right tool for you right now. Why? Because you have limited identity theft protection. Think about it. Modern scammers aren't just after your social security number. They also use credit card and account numbers, passwords, and other data to steal your identity and defraud you. So if you don't have comprehensive monitoring, you are toast. Because the fact that you have limited monitoring with Discover, this leaves you vulnerable, and also your family, by the way, your family vulnerable too. And you also have expensive plans for multiple adults. So, I mean, when you think about it, here is a service that starts at $15 per month per user. Discover is really more expensive than other identity protection services, offering comparable or even more value. Okay, this is something to really think about. You have a lot of players in the industry that are cheaper. For instance, when you have Identity Guard, you are paying less. And also, when it comes to Discover Identity Theft Protection, you have no digital security tools. So Discover Identity Theft Protection doesn't really include safe browsing tools or even a password manager. That's what I said a little earlier, right? So these tools basically block dangerous websites and can prevent you from, let's say, accidentally clicking on a malicious link or falling for a phishing scam. Especially when you have a large family, you want to really cover that aspect of things because, with kids, you never know. Kids and teenagers, you never know. And Discover Identity Theft Protection won't protect your privacy online. I mean, identity thieves know it's a prime hunting ground to scour for victims because a lot of folks are using social media nowadays. So Discover doesn't monitor your social media and online accounts or provide you with access to a VPN for that matter. So if you frequently browse the internet or use Wi-Fi, you can open yourself up to hacking, malware, or even identity theft. Okay. Also, another thing is that Discover Identity Theft doesn't proactively protect you. I insisted on that because, you want to be proactive, not reactive. So, here is a service that focuses more on monitoring, alerts, and remediation in the event that your identity is stolen. It doesn't offer a credit lock or other tools that can help you shield yourself and your family from threats to begin with. So this is a big deficit in my view. So when you think about Discover Identity Theft Protection, the thing is that you have a lot of other alternatives. Okay, you have Aura, you have Identity Guard, you have LifeLock from Norton. We have a lot of players that are in this identity theft protection industry. Okay, it's one of those things where you have to see what works for you. And when it comes to the alternatives, there are ways to actually compare and contrast whether or not Discover is better than the others, or the others are better than Discover, right? You want to pay attention to things like data protection, device security, identity and credit monitoring services, and more. Because the thing is that identity theft is really a holistic thing. It's not a one time. It's not a one sort of a one criterion thing. It's a more holistic thing. For instance, you want to have 3 bureau credit monitoring, right? So you are receiving alerts about key changes, significant changes. So this is kind of cool. You want to have digital security or device safety. And this will include safe browsing tools to protect against, let's say, phishing scams, as well as a secure password manager. You want to also pay attention to identity monitoring. So here I'm speaking here about like your ability to monitor your information, how it is monitored, and how you are receiving alerts from the service. Okay, so you want a service that monitors not just your social, but also other information, especially as things happen on the dark web. That's important. And also, it's important to understand that you want a service that preferably can initiate a credit freeze or lock, which really prevents prospective lenders from opening new credit accounts in your name or even accessing your file. That will really help you limit the risk to your social. onto your credit score. You also want to make sure that you are having public record monitoring so that if something were to happen, you will see exactly what's happening. Like, you have a service that can monitor a criminal court, sex offender registry, home title, and USPS address change. So that's kind of important. And you also want to have identity theft insurance policy. That way you can really, if something were to happen, you can really get back on your feet real fast. Okay, that's important to think about too. So in terms of cancellation, how do you cancel your Discover identity theft protection plan? Just to say, let's just say that you think that you've been with them for a while, but they're not really doing it for you, and you want to really switch to another, or you just want to be on your own right now because you just want to rearrange your life. So you can cancel your Discover identity theft protection plan at any time and will not be charged for future months. And if you cancel in the middle of the month, you will receive a prorated refund for the remainder of the unused subscription period. So that's kind of cool. So to cancel your Discover Identity Theft Protection Plan, you have several options, but the two most important, most efficient ones are phone and also email. I mean, not email, phone and online. So in terms of phone, just call 1-800-347-3089 and ask their representative to cancel your services. Again, the number is 1-800-347-3089, 3089. So that's one option. The second option is you can log into your account center. So click on the shortcuts at the top of the page, then select Identity Theft Protection. So this is it's pretty straightforward. Now, keep in mind though that even after canceling your Identity Theft Protection service, Discover may still share your personal information for marketing and quote unquote everyday business purposes. So you can really this is something you need to really pay attention to. So you can find out more about Discover's data sharing policies by contacting them at 1-800-347-7552. Again, the number here is 1-800-347-7552. So bottom line here is that Discover can leave you vulnerable. So while Discover Identity Theft Protection offers some decent credit protection, it really lacks essential features that can leave you vulnerable and your family vulnerable to online scams and fraud, okay? And namely, the lack of comprehensive identity monitoring and also digital security tools is actually a major drawback, in my view, to consider before signing up for the service, okay? This is important, especially in the long run. So here's an epilogue here into this conversation. I spoke to you about Discover Identity Theft Protection, and the question was, is it really worth it? So I gave you the prologue, the suitability, the evaluation, the bottom line, the alternatives, and also the cancellation. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.